It begins subtly, an uneasiness in your chest, a sense that things are slipping through your fingers, even if you can't explain why. People start drifting away. Plans that once felt solid collapse without warning. What you used to love now feels hollow, and the places you used to run to for comfort don't bring the same peace. It's not because something is wrong with you, it's because your frequency has shifted, and your old reality can no longer hold who you are becoming. You didn't ask for this shift. It happened as a result of your growth. Sometimes spiritual evolution isn't loud or dramatic. Sometimes it begins with a whisper, a soft pull from your soul that tells you you're not meant to stay here. The pain comes from trying to cling to a version of life that was built for who you used to be. The people, routines, even the dreams that once made sense, no longer align with the new resonance of your energy. This transformation is sacred, but it's not always easy. When your energy changes, it's like tuning a radio to a different frequency. Everything that was connected to your previous setting starts to fade out. Relationships, thoughts, behaviors, even memories. And that fading can feel like loss. But the truth is, it's release. You are not losing anything meant for the vibration you're now carrying. Before continuing the message, write this mantra in the comments. I honor the falling away, for it clears the path to my truth. Now, continuing the message, there's something deeply powerful happening beneath the surface. When your frequency shifts, the universe begins rearranging everything to reflect the new energetic standard you're embodying. But during this recalibration, there is often silence, a pause, confusion. You may feel like you've been forgotten or like everything is falling apart. But what's truly happening is preparation. The old must fall so the new can rise in integrity. It can't coexist. That's why things feel like they're breaking. They are. You are becoming more sensitive to energy, more aware of hidden motives, more in tune with your body and intuition. What used to feel normal now feels loud, draining, or false. That's not a flaw. It's your spirit refusing to dim again. You are outgrowing what was built on limitation. And with that expansion comes a sacred tension, the discomfort of shedding an identity that no longer fits. And you might be wondering, if this is all for the better, why does it hurt so much? Because endings always carry weight, even when they are necessary, even when they are sacred. You are allowed to grieve what no longer resonates, even if your spirit knows it's right. Don't rush to fix the discomfort. Let it teach you. There's wisdom in the rubble. There are messages in what crumbles. And the deeper truth is this: the chaos is not punishment, it's the realignment of your path. You weren't meant to stay hidden in patterns that silence your soul. This shift is calling you back to your essence. And when your essence is leading, there is no space for what is not aligned. Your body knows. Your spirit knows. That's why everything around you feels unfamiliar. It's not that the world has changed. It's that your inner world no longer accepts falsehoods as home. You are being emptied of everything that was too small for the next version of you. But that's not all. There's something even more powerful unfolding. There is a version of you that exists beyond this transition. She is clearer, lighter, rooted. She trusts her own voice more than the noise around her. She doesn't beg for love, attention, or approval, because she finally sees that her value was never meant to be measured by those who couldn't see her depth. And that version of you is getting closer. Every tear, every goodbye, every moment of confusion, it's all opening the path for her arrival. You're not crazy for feeling distant from the people around you. As your frequency elevates, the connections that are not grounded in truth will start to dissolve. Some will fade quietly, others may leave with conflict. But all of it is divine. You are not meant to carry relationships that demand you shrink. If someone cannot meet you where you are going, their exit is not rejection, it's redirection. There is no shame in outgrowing. That's what souls do. And while the mind wants stability, the soul wants truth. That's what you're feeling. The tension between comfort and expansion, between what is easy and what is real. And you're being asked to choose, not with force, but with clarity. Can you release the idea that your worth is tied to what stays? Can you trust that the version of life falling apart was never the destination, but the preparation? Everything falling away is making room. Room for alignment. Room for people who speak your new language. Room for peace that isn't earned through overgiving, room for a rhythm of life that doesn't feel like survival. What if what you're experiencing isn't breakdown, but breakthrough? The old you had to dissolve because who you were was tied to wounds, expectations, and versions of reality built in survival. You're stepping into something different now, not because you finally became enough, but because you remembered you always were. So breathe. Let go of the need to understand every detail. This is not the time to force answers. This is the time to trust the collapse. Because when something breaks in alignment, what's built afterward can actually hold you. If this message is reaching you, I'd love to know, where in the world are you watching from? Drop your city in the comments so we can feel how connected we truly are, even across the miles. When your reality begins to dissolve, it's easy to assume something has gone terribly wrong. Your instincts may tell you to fix it, to grasp tightly to what you've always known, to find safety in familiarity. But the angels are whispering something different. They're asking you to pause, to breathe, and to trust that this unraveling is sacred. Because not everything that falls apart is a loss. Sometimes it's an invitation. You were never meant to live in survival mode. You were not born just to hold everything together. The constant pressure to keep smiling, to be okay for everyone else, to carry roles that were never yours to begin with, it's exhausting your soul. And now that your frequency has shifted, the mask is too heavy to wear. The facade no longer fits. You can feel it. Your spirit aches for something real. The chaos you're feeling is not a failure. It's a signal that your energy can no longer support the structures built from fear, guilt, or pleasing others. And while it may feel like everything is crumbling, the truth is, it's just being cleared. The clutter, the noise, the distractions, they're being stripped away so that what is true, what is essential, can finally breathe. Now, before we continue this message, write in the comments 777 to call in the energy of divine clarity and inner wisdom. And if you feel this message speaks to your heart, your presence here matters. If it feels right to you, you can support these angelic messages by clicking on the thanks or super thanks button. It helps us keep creating and sharing light for those who need it most. You are not broken, you are becoming. What once sustained you emotionally, mentally, or spiritually has simply run its course. The people who ghosted you, the plans that fell through, the sudden endings, none of them were punishments. They were shifts, realignments, course corrections to guide you home to yourself. But I know, and it hurts. There's a kind of grief that comes with spiritual elevation, the kind that doesn't always make sense to others. You miss people who are still alive. You cry for pieces of yourself that no longer exist. You feel guilt for no longer fitting into places where you once belonged. This emotional shedding is not weakness, it's cleansing. It's proof that your heart is still open even as it lets go. There's something nobody talks about enough, how lonely awakening can be, how it can feel like being dropped into a new dimension with no roadmap. But the loneliness isn't permanent, it's transitional. It's the space between who you were and who you're becoming. It's where your energy recalibrates and your heart learns to beat in new rhythms. And eventually, the loneliness gives way to clarity. You'll start to attract conversations that nourish you instead of drain you. You'll begin to find peace in your own presence, rather than fearing silence. You'll notice that you're no longer available for chaos disguised as passion or connection built on obligation. The emptiness you feel now, it's not a void, it's fertile ground. You're being prepared for alignment, not punishment. Let this sink in. Not everything that ends is meant to be mourned. Some things leave because you finally learned the lesson. Some things collapse because you stopped feeding the illusion. Some things exit because your soul called back its energy. This is not rejection from life. It's redirection from the divine. You weren't meant to stay stuck in cycles that deplete you. You weren't created to keep proving your worth. You're here to remember it. And when you do, the things that are truly meant for you will recognize your light without conditions. There's more. You're not just shifting internally, you're shifting your timeline. You are no longer a match for versions of life built on fear, scarcity, or survival. That's why it feels like your old world is crumbling. It is. But not because you failed, because you evolved. And the higher your frequency rises, the more obvious it becomes that peace isn't found in controlling your surroundings. It's found in choosing who you are, even when the world around you doesn't make sense. Your nervous system is adjusting. Your body might be tired. Your emotions might swing. Your dreams might be vivid, even unsettling. That's all part of the purge. You are releasing years, sometimes lifetimes of energy that is no longer compatible with your soul's path. Give yourself grace. Don't rush this. The space you're in right now is sacred, even if it's uncomfortable. You are not meant to explain your evolution to those committed to misunderstanding you. Not everyone can hear the frequency you now embody, and that's okay. You are not here to convince. You are here to be. The ones who are meant for you will recognize your energy without needing to understand your path. You are being rerouted toward people who will speak your soul's language. Toward spaces where you can exhale, not perform. Toward rhythms that support your peace, not sabotage it. So if it feels like everything is falling apart, take heart. Things fall apart when they are no longer in resonance with your truth. And your truth is rising now, louder than the noise, clearer than the doubt. You're not going back. And deep down you know this. Let yourself grieve, yes. Let yourself rest. But do not let yourself shrink. This frequency you've stepped into is not accidental. It's divine timing. It's what your soul signed up for. And everything that feels lost now, it's making way for something wildly more aligned than you ever imagined. There's a moment, quiet, almost imperceptible, when you stop needing to explain yourself. You stop chasing people who don't call. You stop performing worth in spaces that never saw your depth. It doesn't come with fireworks or a grand revelation. It comes like a calm after a long internal storm. That's the frequency you're entering now, the frequency of self-honoring. You begin to realize that not everything slipping away is a tragedy. Some things are slipping because they were never truly yours. Some people are fading because they were only aligned with a version of you that no longer exists. And that's okay. You're not losing your life. You're stepping into it. The strange part? You'll look around and see how much has shifted without your full awareness. The energy you once tolerated feels unbearable. The conversations you once engaged in now feel lifeless. You are no longer a match for drama, for games, for shallow validation. And this disinterest isn't apathy, it's healing. Your spirit is recalibrating to wholeness. Before continuing the message, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, now is the perfect moment. It helps us continue creating meaningful content for your soul's journey. Continuing the message, your new frequency demands honesty, not just with others, but with yourself. It doesn't allow you to betray your inner voice for the sake of peace. It doesn't let you smile through what hurts or stay in places where your soul contracts. You are being pushed to show up in your fullness, to claim what you feel, even when it's messy, even when it's inconvenient. And that kind of integrity, it repels what's false. It clears paths, sometimes brutally, but those cleared paths make room for miracles. Yes, miracles. Because as your frequency rises, your reality will begin to reflect that shift in undeniable ways. Synchronicities will intensify, dreams will become vivid. You'll find yourself speaking things out loud and watching them materialize faster than ever before. This isn't magic, it's resonance. You're becoming a clearer signal to the universe, and the universe always responds to clarity. But here's the catch: clarity costs comfort. There's no clarity without confronting what you've ignored, no expansion without shedding old skins, no higher frequency without dissonance first showing you what's not aligned. So if you're in the messy middle, breathe. This discomfort is not proof that you're lost, it's proof that you're moving, and not just moving forward, you're moving upward. You're not who you were a year ago, or even a month ago. Your intuition is louder, your nervous system is more aware, your soul is more insistent. You've outgrown self-abandonment. You've stopped settling for peace that requires your silence. You're learning to be loyal to your evolution, even when it costs you approval. And that is liberation. You'll begin to crave stillness more than stimulation. You'll start protecting your energy like it's sacred, because it is. You'll stop trying to heal people who are committed to their own avoidance, not out of bitterness, but out of clarity. Your energy is no longer available for codependency masked as compassion. You'll also find a deeper softness, not weakness, but a gentle strength. A strength that says, I don't need to force anything to stay. A strength that releases with love, that says goodbye without resentment, that holds space for the unknown without fear. This is the power of a soul aligned with its own truth. It doesn't clench, it doesn't perform. It surrenders, but not the kind of surrender that means giving up. The kind that means finally letting the river carry you instead of swimming against the current. The kind of surrender that whispers, "I trust what's unfolding, even if I don't fully understand it yet." You are stepping into a phase of clarity that will demand your presence, not your perfection. It will ask you to listen more and explain less, to pause before reacting, to stay rooted when everything around you is shifting. And most of all, it will ask you to stop abandoning yourself to be understood. There will still be moments of grief, that's natural. Grief is the language of transformation. It's how the soul makes space for what's next. You'll cry for the versions of you that tried so hard to be loved by those who could not love themselves. You'll weep for the time you spent dimming your light so others could feel more comfortable in their shadows. But even in the tears, there will be a quiet knowing you're finally coming home. And that's the beauty of this shift. It's not about escaping your old life. It's about embodying the truth you used to hide. It's about living without the mask, loving without conditions, and walking into rooms without shrinking. The old reality didn't break you. It built you. Every betrayal taught you discernment. Every rejection sharpened your intuition. Every ending led you closer to your soul. And now you're ready to live from that place. Not for approval, not for applause, but because it's who you are. There comes a point when you no longer fear the silence. You stop filling the quiet with distractions. You stop reaching for people who never really saw you. You stop negotiating with parts of yourself you've outgrown just to keep the peace. Because now you've tasted alignment. And once your soul feels the weightlessness of truth, it refuses to carry the burden of pretending. This is the space you're in now. And it's sacred. You may not be able to explain why certain things no longer excite you, or why being around certain people feels heavy, even if nothing bad happened. That's the frequency shift. You're no longer emotionally available for what drains you. That's not ego, that's evolution. And it's changing everything. Where you used to say yes just to be liked, you now pause. Where you used to over-explain to avoid being misunderstood, you now release the need to be understood. You're not colder, you're clearer. You're not distant, you're discerning. This is what rising in frequency looks like. Not louder, not brighter, but deeper. And that depth, it's magnetizing a new kind of reality to you. You'll start to notice how the universe responds differently to you now. The right people begin appearing. Those who speak the same emotional language. Conversations feel nourishing instead of draining. Even the way nature interacts with you shifts. You might find more signs, more synchronicities, more moments that feel orchestrated just for your eyes. But here's what most don't talk about. When your vibration shifts, you may also encounter resistance. Not everyone will celebrate your clarity. Some will feel triggered by it. Because when you stop abandoning yourself, it reflects the ways others still are. And that's not your responsibility to fix. You're not here to dim your light to make others comfortable in their shadows. You're here to rise and give others permission to do the same. Let them misunderstand you. Let them gossip. Let them go quiet. Their response to your healing says everything about their own relationship with themselves and nothing about your worth. You're allowed to keep growing even if others stay the same. You're allowed to want more even if others don't understand why you're no longer content with less. Your old reality served its purpose. It taught you about love, loss, patience, boundaries, betrayal, intuition, silence. It helped you shape the tools you carry now. But it was never meant to hold the entirety of your becoming. It was a cocoon. And this is your emergence. You're not crazy for outgrowing what once felt like everything. You're becoming the version of yourself you used to dream about. She's here, not perfect, but whole, not loud, but clear, not desperate, but aligned. You're not meant to keep watering what no longer blooms. You're meant to plant new seeds, ones that match the rhythm of your spirit now. But don't be surprised if this new phase feels slower. That's not stagnation, that's recalibration. When your nervous system has been used to chaos, peace can feel like boredom at first. That's normal. Let your body learn what it feels like to exist without waiting for the next wave of stress. Let stillness rewire your expectations. Because this slower pace, it's where clarity lives. It's where you meet yourself again, not as someone trying to survive, but someone finally safe enough to rest. It's where you remember that healing isn't just about release, it's about receiving too. And now you're ready to receive love that feels safe, to receive abundance without guilt, to receive rest without shame, to receive joy without fear that it will be taken away. You've done the work of letting go. Now it's time to welcome what aligns with the frequency of who you are today, not who you had to be to survive yesterday. Don't rush it. Let the new pace teach you. The life that matches your new frequency won't require force. It won't demand sacrifice of your peace. It won't ask you to be anyone other than who you are when you're honest, grounded, and whole. And it's coming. Not because you begged, not because you proved you were worthy, but because you finally stopped betraying yourself. And when that happens, the universe shifts with you. It always does. It's happening slowly, but undeniably. You're becoming someone you once only caught glimpses of in your quietest dreams. There's a lightness in your chest that wasn't there before. A softness in your gaze, even when things feel uncertain. This isn't by accident. It's not luck. It's the result of the work your soul committed to long before you had words for it. You've done something rare. You've allowed yourself to change, and change, in its truest form, is not always loud or visible. It's subtle. It's saying no without guilt. It's choosing rest over productivity. It's walking away from conversations that don't honor your energy. It's trusting your intuition even when it doesn't make logical sense. It's understanding that alignment doesn't always look like success to the outside world, but it feels like peace to your spirit. That peace, the one you're starting to feel more often now, is the proof. Proof that your energy has finally stopped negotiating with what isn't meant for you. You are no longer orbiting lives where your light was only appreciated in shadows. You're no longer over-explaining your worth in places where love had conditions. You've stopped offering discounts on your soul just to be accepted. And because of that shift, yes, the old is still falling away, but this time, it doesn't break you. This time, it feels like confirmation. Confirmation that what's gone wasn't meant to stay. Confirmation that you're finally living in alignment with your truth, not just the version of you others were comfortable with. It's not that you're closing your heart, it's that your heart now has stronger boundaries, not because you're bitter, but because you finally learned the difference between connection and attachment, between love and obligation, between being needed and being seen. The people who are meant for this new frequency will not require your silence to stay close. They won't mistake your sensitivity for weakness. They won't guilt you for choosing peace. They won't ask you to be less. They will meet you where you are, not where they wish you would remain. And you'll recognize them not by their words, but by how your nervous system relaxes in their presence. You'll feel safe, heard, expanded, because when your frequency shifts, so does your tribe. You stop chasing chemistry and start aligning with resonance. You stop needing people to complete you and begin welcoming those who complement the wholeness you've already reclaimed. It's not about having a perfect life. It's about finally creating a life that doesn't cost you your soul. And that's exactly what's unfolding. The universe isn't punishing you, it's pruning you, cutting back the excess, clearing the noise, removing what isn't sustainable for the new energetic blueprint you're now embodying. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is say, "This no longer fits me," and walk away. Not out of anger, but out of integrity. You are not responsible for carrying what drains you. You're not here to be everything for everyone. You're not meant to sacrifice your truth to keep the illusion of connection alive. You're meant to be you, fully. And that version of you, the one rising from this shedding, she doesn't need to beg for space anymore. She creates it. With her presence, with her boundaries, with her knowing. The clarity you're receiving now is a gift. And with that gift comes discernment. Discernment to recognize where your energy is being honored and where it's being consumed. Discernment to walk away without closure when your soul already has the answer. Discernment to stop explaining what your energy already made clear. You are no longer trying to convince the world of your value, you're embodying it. And in doing so, you are becoming unavailable for anything less than truth. This is the power of living in alignment with your frequency. It doesn't require announcements. It doesn't beg for validation. It simply is, a quiet, unwavering presence that says, "I am here now, fully, and I won't betray myself to be loved. Not anymore." There's a moment you don't see coming. It's not loud, not cinematic. It doesn't come with applause or clarity. It often slips in during the ordinary, when you're washing dishes, driving home, or sitting quietly with yourself. And suddenly it hits you. I don't feel the way I used to. The heaviness that once lived in your chest feels distant now. The thoughts that used to loop endlessly no longer hold weight. The longing for what left, the ache for what never came, the urge to fix what was never yours to heal. It's quieter. Not gone, maybe, but softer, manageable, no longer driving your life. This is the invisible arrival of peace, not the kind you chase, but the kind that comes when you stop running from yourself. You didn't heal overnight. You didn't rise without cracking. What you did was stay, through the aching, through the silence, through the wild unraveling of everything you thought you needed. And because you stayed, your soul grew stronger than your fear. You stopped hoping people would come back. You stopped needing old versions of yourself to resurface. You stopped blaming the world for your wounds and started holding space for the parts of you that were still bleeding. And that changed everything. Now you see the signs differently. You hear a song and smile instead of spiral. You walk past familiar places and feel grounded, not gutted. You hear their name and your body doesn't flinch. This is the frequency of self-possession, where the past no longer owns you, where your story doesn't start with who left or who hurt you, but with who you decided to become after everything fell apart. That's the frequency shift most people never notice, because it doesn't look dramatic. It looks like boundaries, like rest, like stillness, like choosing to do nothing rather than be somewhere that dishonors your spirit. It looks like canceling plans because your energy matters, like walking away mid-conversation because peace isn't up for debate, like saying no without a paragraph of justification. This new version of you doesn't need to be understood. She needs to be free, free from cycles, free from emotional debt, free from rewriting the same lessons in different bodies, free from performing for love. And what's wild is that the more you become her, the more your life begins to reshape itself, not through force, but through frequency. You'll notice how what used to chase you now fades, how what once felt so important now feels neutral, how people who once took up space in your mind no longer have access to your energy. That's not cold. That's called energetic sovereignty. It means you no longer leak life force trying to make broken things beautiful. You've learned to let them be what they are. You've learned to let you be what you are. You are no longer healing to be chosen. You are healing because you finally chose yourself. And when that becomes your baseline, miracles don't feel like miracles anymore. They feel like alignment. They feel like, of course this came, I'm available for this now. Because what you allow is no longer based on your wounds. It's based on your worth. What you attract is no longer rooted in urgency. It's rooted in wholeness. And what you release isn't a loss, it's a clearing. You no longer collapse at the thought of being misunderstood. You don't ache to be seen by those who only ever looked at the surface. You stop needing to explain your path to people who haven't left their own comfort zone. You simply carry on, softly, unapologetically, and that softness is your revolution. You don't have to be loud to be powerful. You don't have to be liked to be true. You don't have to be finished to be worthy. You just have to keep showing up, and you are. Even on the days it doesn't feel like it. Even when no one sees the effort it takes to hold yourself together. Even when the world feels indifferent, you are still here, still becoming, still shifting into the woman your younger self never thought she'd be strong enough to become. There's a kind of strength you earn only by surviving what was meant to break you. Not the kind of strength that hardens you, but the kind that softens you without letting you collapse. You're standing in that strength now, quiet, certain, unshaken, not because life got easier, but because you got clearer. Clear on what you will and will not accept. Clear on who you are when no one's watching. Clear on the kind of peace that can't be bought, borrowed, or bargained for. It's strange, isn't it? How your old self might not even recognize who you are today. The version of you that settled for crumbs, that begged for clarity, that stayed too long, that dimmed her light to be loved. She was real. She was doing her best. But she is not who stands here now. You're no longer trying to fix people who choose to remain broken. You're no longer molding yourself to be palatable to people who fear their own reflection. You're no longer exhausting yourself in places that keep asking for more and giving less. Because you know now, your energy is sacred. It is not a reward for good behavior. It is not a prize to be won, it is a gift. And not everyone knows how to receive it. You're not bitter about that anymore. You're just done wasting light where it's not being seen. And that's the frequency you're now grounded in. It's why old dynamics feel off. It's why your body reacts faster to misalignment. It's why you feel the urge to protect your peace like never before. Because once you start experiencing the kind of quiet that comes from being in integrity with yourself, noise becomes unbearable. And now you're beginning to realize it was never about finding peace. It was about removing everything that blocked it. The habits, the overthinking, the over-explaining, the fear of judgment, the constant reaching. All of it, layers between you and your essence. And now those layers are gone or going. One boundary at a time. One truth at a time. One sacred no at a time. And now life responds differently. Not because the universe suddenly favors you, but because your energy no longer entertains what dishonors you. You're not attracting miracles. You're aligning with them. You're not lucky. You're intentional. You're not cold. You're rooted. You're not distant. You're discerning. You're not detached. You're finally free. And yes, things will still hurt sometimes. You'll still miss people who never knew how to hold you. You'll still have moments where old patterns try to seduce you back into familiar pain. But the difference now? You know how to return to yourself. You know how to sit with discomfort without abandoning your truth. You know how to choose solitude over chaos disguised as connection. You know that love isn't supposed to hurt. You know that presence matters more than promises. You know that peace isn't something you earn. It's something you allow. And now you're allowing it. Without guilt, without apology, without explanation. So if the world feels different, if you feel different, good. You're not going backwards. You're not the same. You're lighter, clearer, deeper. You're not on a detour, you're home. And from here, everything begins. The kind of love that feels safe. The kind of abundance that doesn't require burnout. The kind of friendships that speak your soul's language. The kind of joy that doesn't feel temporary. It's all coming. Not because you chased it, but because you became it. And when that happens, you stop waiting for your life to begin, because you're already living it, right here, right now. If this message resonated with you and your situation, write in the comments. I no longer shrink to be loved, I expand to be seen. Share your experience in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, like it and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.